Okay. Hey, welcome everybody to this month's live stream, a Life Design Coaches. And we're doing our roundtable this week as a live stream. It's so good to have everybody here. Welcome, Jonathan, Dean, Brian. Our topic today is Lightworker Lingo. So we're just going to have a little bit of fun chatting about the language that coaches use and therapists use and people in spiritual communities use, and be lighthearted. Brian, who's the co-founder of A Life Design, likes to make sure we have fun in the things we're doing. So today is one of our fun days. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen real fast. Okay, I had this wired. I promise I did. There we go. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so my present mode is missing, so I think I'm going to go this way. There we go. So here's a meme to the right. My consciousness says, I want to create something beautifully new in my life. My subconscious says, best we can do is repeat a pattern. So here's some lingo that came to mind as we chatted about this topic today. Getting a download, engaged in quantum entanglement, doing energy work, vibration, separation or attraction, the ascension cycle. Brian had a fun one the other day, Karmageddon, when your karma catches up with you. People talking about angels and guides, people talking about channels. So there's some starting words for us. And then here's some memes. The cat says, my face when the universe keeps sending me life lessons instead of money. In the middle is a meme. Putting away your laundry is the final spiritual test before ascension. And then the last one, here's a woman who's struggling in dystopia. Me, after a day spent trying to wake people up and pull them out of the matrix. They're more brainwashed than I thought. We go back to Riverside. Okay, so we have two funny YouTube shorts to share, and then we'll just launch into our conversation. And testing the theory that I can do this again. Here's the first one. Okay, we'll see if I can get it to play.
I told her, I was like, y'all can take this job and shove it because I've had enough. They abuse me. Okay, that's all they do. I told her, I was like, y'all can take this job and shove it because I've had enough. They abuse me here.
Light workers feeling like they're taking some abuse. Okay, and we have one more to share, and then I'll stop torturing you with my screen sharing. The actual Galactic Federation of Light dropping star seeds off on this prison planet to bring Yay, the light workers. Welcome to the prison planet. Okay, enough for the sharing. So good to see you all here today. Jonathan, would you like to kick us off to start this week, or Dean, would you like to? I need a volunteer.
I'm happy to let Jonathan go. He probably Jonathan. Did you say Jonathan? Or
Yeah.
I got
Go
this.
for it,
Do you hear some interesting words in your alchemical hypnotherapy work, or just among people in the community where people are throwing around channeling or getting downloads?
Yes. However, for the most part, it seems like a lot of those words are being misused. It's like all of a sudden, it's like it was like a kaboom. It was like all of a sudden, like somebody that has no idea what, like, work actually means it's like a healer. For example, let's go with the healer word because that one it's an important one. So let's say a spiritual healer, and you're like, well, spirit does the spirit needs healing? I don't think spirit is spirit is just spirit in essence. What does spirit needs help with? Spirit is perfect, but they're like, I can teach you how to heal it. So I think there's some words that I'm not against, but I will not use. But there are definitely some of the words that they have been using. They are being misused. Like healing is one of the ones that I've seen abused the most for a healing one. But also, I like the way that the world went from a dark age when it was, let's say, if you mention a word, somebody will freak out and then put you in a stick and burn you to death because it was too much of a word. So now I like the fact that actually you can. It's like the vocabulary is more extended, right? So for that I am actually grateful because it allows me to use those kinds of words. Because back in the day, imagine if you told someone, "Well, I can download some information that you have no idea what I'm talking about, but just trust me that I am channeling something through my antenna, and I'm going to tell you what the message is." Now, most humans back in the day were going to look at you like, "What is he talking about? What does he mean by downloading some kind of information that I'm going to listen to and I'm going to like it because it's going to resonate within me? That is the actual truth." So, uh,
I think using the words, yeah, is so important, and there's concepts behind the words. But it's kind of funny how people will have the word, but maybe not the concept. So I know. Did you have another one you wanted to share, Jonathan, or should we move on to Dean to start?
so far with that one, I can think of so many things.
Well, Dean, I'm thinking about the word validate, and that's one of those therapy words. I want to be validated in my viewpoint. I'm just needing validation. And if you're actually doing serious work with someone, you might say, I can understand what you're saying your point of view is, but if it's not working for you, validating it and saying you should keep on keeping on doing this is not going to serve you very well. But so sometimes they'll throw the words around, but the concepts or meaning behind them are missing, and that's the important part. Is the meaning and the concepts. Do you have thoughts that come to mind about humorous situations where words are not quite aligned with the meaning?
I'm afraid I don't have any humorous thoughts, but I have some. I do have some thoughts, and maybe you could laugh at them and act like they're humorous.
Okay.
So I do see a lot of times on Twitter or whatever complaints about therapy speak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and like validation is maybe a good one, and it's kind of intertwined with what's really happening to kind of the mental health industry widely. I think is it's it's kind of falling apart under the weight of decentralization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got a million people who are coaches now who might be more affordable, who might be more approachable. You have at the same time a barrier to entry to sort of like the standard mental health field, which
Mm-hmm.
requires, 8 years to become a therapist and thousands of dollars
Mm-hmm.
and legal licensure with the state. And when
Mm-hmm.
you put all of that burden on people, it selects for certain people against other people. And the
Mm-hmm.
people that the system selects for may not be the best people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may actually be driving some of your best possible potential therapists out of the industry because of the way that the the credentialing structure weighs on them. And so what's happening is all of the way we speak about therapy is intertwined with like the crumbling of the therapeutic infrastructure. And so you see a lot of times on Twitter that therapists or whatever will complain about people who aren't therapists, who are out there in the culture using therapy speak. And yes, it can be a problem, but it often also comes across to me as, unless you have a master's degree and a state license, you're not allowed to say this word.
Oh.
And that's a problem. So like a good example is I see people talk about how the word narcissist is misused.
Yes.
And you have a lot of therapists who think no one should say that word unless they are unless the state has told them that they are allowed to use the DSM to diagnose people for an insurance company, right? Well, I mean, it's very easy to find the DSM criteria for narcissism. I mean, I can find it online in 10 seconds, right? And I'm not stupid. I can know whether or not a person meets those criteria. But more importantly, the thing is, people are using language to try to speak about their experience. And so people will ascribe narcissism to another person, and they may or may not be correct. But whether they're correct or not, they're seeking to speak about their experience with the language that they have. And so I just think it's not as though language belongs only to the professionals, and that it is actually the role of the professionals who seem to be very concerned about this to work with people to sort out whether that word is being used accurately or not, right? Like, is your ex actually a narcissist, or are you just mad at that person? Okay. Instead of sort of trying to own the language, I think professionals have the obligation to sort of help people clarify their thinking about, like you're saying, about the concepts that lie behind it. On the other hand, there are people in the world who have had experience, for example, with highly narcissistic people. And you don't have to be a licensed clinician to know that you've had that experience and to know what this other person is like with whom you've had a relationship. And so I do hear lots of therapy speak, and I guess my final thought is it's not really about the language that people use. It's about, like you were saying, there's conceptual and philosophical confusion behind the use of those words, but lecturing people for overusing the word or using it though somehow as if only licensed people could use it, right? Daring to use the word when you don't have a therapy license or whatever. Lecturing people about that's not the way to go. And I'm sorry that wasn't very humorous, but that's what's on my mind.
Well, no, I appreciate it. I know there's a discernment component for the work that we do, where we can kind of dial in what's happening with the person, and we do have to hear the language they're using. But sometimes there's this presumption, and I know, Jonathan, you mentioned this. Well, I got a download, so this makes it true from the universe. Like, you don't get to question whether or not this direction I'm choosing is right or wrong because I got a download. And you're like, did you sign up for a subscription? Or how is it that you have a download? So God on high, or the universe, or creator, or great spirit gave you a hack for how you're going to manage this, and all the rest of us should automatically know it's 100% true and correct. So I think there's some room to be a little bit skeptical, maybe be a little bit humorous about all the downloads going on out there. Brian, do you have some thoughts about this?
Yeah, so jumping off what you were saying, Dean, as far as like therapists or, psychologists, basically complaining about how people use psychology words. It almost seems to me like we need like a Protestant Reformation of that. Like it's like they're trying to establish themselves as the priest class,
Mhm.
and only they can know the true concepts of like the human psyche, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, I agree with you. Everyone has to be able to use the language, like, and you know, use the words as accurately as you can. But I mean, that's, you know, everyone has the right to do that. Yeah, and then as far as downloads, like you were saying, Mom, I think it's great for people to get those. I think people should seek those. But I mean, nobody has to take it as gospel truth, you know. No one has to take it as, you know. I mean, everyone can have their own opinion, and
Mhm.
there is usually some level of interpretation to those things,
Mhm.
although sometimes they are very true.
Mhm.
But there is a level of, you know, you gotta interpret it. But yeah, I've heard some people saying that we're like America's an over therapized society now,
Mhm.
and so like, you know, more words that people sort of overuse or misuse along the same lines as narcissists, like trauma triggers, like anything can traumatize you now, you know, like they get your order wrong at Starbucks, you're traumatized, you're triggered, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there is kind of an over therapization, like everything isn't a psychological event of major importance, you know.
Mhm.
um, we don't have to view everything that way, and I think that does damage. It makes people more frail and sensitive, you
Mhm.
know, psychologically. um, yeah, and as far as the light worker language, I mean, some of it's funny. I think there's some truth to it. But some of it's just funny. Like, okay, so you have like the chakra system, right?
Mhm.
And people do different meditations
Mhm.
to activate their chakras or unblock their chakras or balance their chakras. And you have the traditional like 7 chakra understanding. But then sometimes people will come out with stuff and be like, I'm activating my soul star chakra, you know, like they just they just like add a new one in. Like,
It's my pet chakra, and I gave it a special
yeah,
name. We're friends. Mhm.
yeah, you know, you gotta clear out your hedgehog chakra. Like it's like you can't just always invent new terms, like and create new things. So um some of that's kind of funny. But you know, at the same time, you do these meditations, you can feel something really good. You can feel a benefit from doing them.
Mhm.
But it is sort of comical sometimes where some of these things go.
Mhm.
Um, especially too, like with the ayahuasca trips and all the other stuff people do now. It's getting a lot more popular now.
Mhm.
Ibogaine, ayahuasca, DMT. I mean,
Mhm.
these kinds of psychedelics, high dose mushroom trips. And there's a lot of people who are doing really high dose mushroom trips now, like insane levels.
Mhm.
Um, and then you're in a completely different dimension. And you might come back and say, "Oh, I had a vision. You know, I got a download." And those things, those things when they happen, they're deeply meaningful to the person. And a lot of times there is a lot of truth to it. It can be extremely meaningful to the person who experienced it.
Mhm.
And a lot of times there's a lot of truth to it, but there's still interpretation. And other people don't have to accept what you saw as the truth. I
Mhm.
mean, everyone has the right to
Mhm.
their own journey. Um, so yeah, but there's a lot of psychobabble now. There's you know, I think the YouTube channel Awaken with JP um, has some funny stuff. He kind of pokes fun at some of the new age spirituality people. Like he talks about competitive spirituality, where you're trying to show that you're more spiritual than the person you're talking to.
Mhm.
Like, oh, well, you've only done 5 ayahuasca trips. Well, I've done 15. So
Yeah,
clearly I've figured out more
people brag
trauma.
about, yeah, the
I'm
number.
more I'm more in touch with, you know, Mother Ayahuasca. I have more downloads. So yeah, I mean, again, those experiences can be incredibly meaningful and amazing, but also some of it gets comical, you know? So
Oh, so funny. Well, I'm really glad that we kicked off this topic because I think people want to know, to use therapy language, they're seen and they're heard. At the same time, we have to bring our own discernment to say, okay, so what was that like for you? I don't know, Jonathan, you probably have the experience with the alchemical hypnotherapy where the kind of experience that they have in their hypnosis session is exactly right for them. But the next client you work with, it's very different because that's exactly right for them. So, Brian, as you say, if you had an ayahuasca trip or mushrooms or something, your personalized experience is about how you see the world, what's going on for you, and it can be very meaningful, but not translate to anybody else, in the way that
well,
it's working for you.
so absolutely. Let me jump in real quick. So I did a mushroom trip one time, and I had a little vision which was very meaningful to me. And I told my friends about it, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, it wasn't meaningful to them, you know. It's very meaningful to me. So I saw the whole like globe, right? I saw the whole Earth, and I just saw these like zombie hands reaching out and just trying to grasp at everything. And like to me, what it meant was it's like this unconsciousness that's taken over most people where they just want to control resources. They just want money. They just want power. And it's like kind of turned us all into zombies. Like we kind of lost the human spirit. Now, I thought that was super meaningful. And I told all my friends, I'm like, yeah, you did some mushrooms. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's more meaningful to the person who experiences it, you know?
Yes. Yes. Well, I had a person who went on an ayahuasca trip, and this had been a coaching client, and he saw my face in a tree. And I'm like, okay, I'm not, it's not uncommon that people say they hear my voice in their head, like I'm saying for the 20th time. Does that really serve you right now? You know what I mean? And they ask the same question, wait, I heard you in my head. Does that really serve you right now? Like, what are we doing? But it's the first time I was a participant unknowingly in somebody's ayahuasca trip, and my face was in a tree. So I think how we impact people and the work that we're doing, everybody's journey is unique. Any
Mhm.
more thoughts, Dean or Jonathan?
Yes, but I've forgotten what they were. It was something about therapy speak. Oh, I wanted to say about the download thing, right? Where,
Yeah.
a person might have a sudden insight and be convinced that it's unquestionable,
Hmm.
and basically see it as a kind of way of bypassing the hard work of their growth. Um,
Spiritual bypass.
I
That's what
think if
I call it. Yep.
I've never had a client do that, but I think the only way to handle that is to say, schedule with me when it doesn't work,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Is go try it, and we'll go from there when whatever your download is turns out to not be the solution to all your problems.
Did
Maybe
you?
that's the thing. Maybe the problem with all of this language behind it all is a kind of bypassing that all of these things are an attempt to just bypass the grueling daily work of becoming better.
To kind of have a hack,
I don't know.
to a cheat sheet, the cheat
Yes.
codes to kind of scoot past it. Well, Jonathan, I don't know if this has happened to you, but I'll ask you this question. Sometimes people will say, well, I was very convicted about I should start this business. I kept having this dream, or for whatever reason, they have a conviction, they're very clear about their direction, they need to do this thing. And it worked. And then it stopped working. And then they're like, what am I supposed to do now? Do I get another dream? It stopped working. But we find that people then have another step they need to take. They have to explore again what is next right for them. This chapter's completing, a new chapter will open, but there may not be a magic wand involved, or a download or a dream. They complete it and then look to see what's next. Do you have some thoughts, Jonathan?
I actually have some personal experience with having the burning desire of having a business or like starting something,
Mm-hmm.
and then like not being able to fall asleep because it's like this is it. Like I came to this world to do this, and then next thing you know, it goes sideways, and there is a turning point at some point because you have to be very realistic and objective and like actually think with the brain that this creation has given you and just think about like the facts of life. Does this actually is it actually working? Yes, no. No. Are you actually passionate about creating something? Yes. But is this one the one that you are actually trying to create right now? Is it actually working? No. And then I think it's like a hard hit to the ego side of the personality when something is just not working. And then you have to let it go for just because you know that that is the right decision to do. However, you still have the burning desire to create something. So I think what I have personally learned, reorganizing your skills, analyzing your own desires again, and then not being afraid, not being afraid to just let go of something that obviously isn't working. Because I've seen that happen many times. Somebody sticking to something that it actually does not work. Uh, it used to be beyond my comprehension, but now obviously now I get it. I understand why. So it's a different story. But going back to what was Dean was talking about, how there were some spiritual bypasses, and that takes me back to all these. It's a dirty word. It's a dirty word, therapists, because there are so many that haven't done their actual like inside work. Like how can I trust that the best that you want for me is that I don't get to see you again within like as soon as possible. That is part of my work. Some of the clients that I have had, they have told me like, oh, what about like more sessions? And I told them, no, the point is the less sessions, the better. That makes my work more efficient. And it actually makes you grow. It's going to push your boundaries. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable. You just gotta trust that it is actually happening. It's actually working. So I will say one of the red flags when it comes to therapy is if somebody wants to become your therapist for like the rest of your life. I'll just take that as a red flag.
Well, I appreciate that. I know you hear stories about people who live in New York and they've been seeing the same therapist for 10 years. And you're like, when is your therapy complete? Like, what does that mean? Are you getting anywhere, actually processing and completing anything? How can you be in therapy for 10 years? So maybe because I have a coaching perspective where it's about getting something done and moving on. But, some of the things we try work for a while and then they don't. And it prompts us as a catalyst to go find something else. I was listening to a webinar for someone who wanted second income at home, wanted to be home with her kids, wanted to have passive income stream, and she tried one thing and it didn't really get off the ground. And then she tried another thing, it didn't really get off the ground. And then she tried a third thing and it went just for doing that thing. That's what really worked for her. So sometimes you try something for a while and then you arrive at, okay, that's not it. I'm going to try something else. And some coaching can kind of help you with the you know, the arm's length view of let's be practical. Is this working? How much time do you want to give it before you decide? What would your next step be if you don't go in that direction? To just kind of have somebody to be a sounding board about direction and choice. I don't know, Brian, if you have any more thoughts about this, we can go around and share how people get a hold of you and get your final thoughts.
I don't know if I have any more thoughts. Yeah, I would say that's good.
Okay, good. How do people find you?
Lightdesign.org or Special K Coaching on Instagram.
Okay, good. In this live stream, it'll go to a recording, and we'll put all that information below. And when that comes out, give us some comments, give us some likes, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to be seeing you next week. Dean, do you have some final thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you?
I do. I was just thinking about this as I was reflecting on some sessions that I had this week with clients. And I think we live in a culture where the demand for guidance and wisdom and companionship, like deep companionship, is incredibly high. And the supply of that is almost non-existent. And so part of the reason that people use therapy speak is because they're trying to do for themselves what they have to have someone else do with them. And so because the personal depth of understanding the sort of human heart and what those terms actually refer to is so thin in the broader culture, people are just like splashing around in that puddle trying to make sense of their experience. And so they misuse terms, etc. But they do it out of a sincere effort to try to achieve something valuable.
Yeah.
So people can find me at deanabbott.com or lifedesign.org or on Twitter at deanabbott.
Yeah, Twitter, Dean Abbott. Well, thank you so much. Jonathan, final thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, I must add something. I have nothing against going back to like the therapy of your choice, just to check in, like after like some time has passed, just to share your progress, and because you know that person and it makes you feel very comfortable, you can open up. I I, I don't see that as a bad thing. I'm just against every single week, and then actual there's no shift, there's no change, there's no pushing your limits. That is the thing. But I think going back just to check, see how everything is going. I don't see that as like a bad idea. I think that is actually a positive thing. You can always get like some of the animals. I think they are very spiritual. So I think having a pet, if you don't have one, or if you like, and then it depends. If you live in a small place, you can have like a fish, like a pet, like a bird or something like small, a turtle. Who knows?
A Life Design has a hamster mascot. Hamsters.
There we go. So something that is at your possibilities, like if you can take care of something. Like I have where I live, there's a cactus. So for me, there's like it's enough work. You will be surprised. Everything has a sense of spirit. If you're sensitive enough and humble enough to connect with it, it can make your life way better. So I'll say having some kind of extra help might bright might help you brighten your days when they're like darker. So yeah, if you have not too much space, you just get like a canary or something. If you have a lot of space, you can have a golden retriever. If you have a big land. You can find me on alifedesign.org, also Jonathan R. Coaching on Instagram, and via email jonathanrcoaching@gmail.com as well.
Oh, thank you so much. We're so happy we could talk about this and poke a little fun at kind of the state of things in our spiritual and coaching community and clients that use therapy words. We're happy that everybody joined us. Visit us at alifedesign.org so our coaches can support you. Comment below if you have some favorite words you hear people use. And we'll see you all next time.